A few years ago, Sunday morning, I was at church getting ready for services when my wife called me. She told me that our bedroom smelled like something electrical was burning. I thought, oh no, what could be wrong? Could something be on fire? I went home, and as soon as I walked in the house, I immediately smelled it. I started looking around everywhere, including the attic, just to see if there was something burning. I finally decided that the problem was a ceiling fan in our bedroom. It quit working, and it was producing the smell. I turned off the breaker to the room and went back to church and told my wife, we'll check it this afternoon. That afternoon, I took the fan down and realized it had to be replaced. So the next day, we went to the store and bought a new fan. And the one thing we decided in buying a new fan is we did not want a remote control on it. Our old one, every time you wanted to turn it on, you had to push and hold the button. And sometimes it turned on, sometimes it didn't. So we wanted just to be able to turn it on from the switch on the wall. So we bought one that did not have a remote. That afternoon, I installed the new fan and went to turn it on, and immediately it turned on. The switch worked. There was no remote, but there was never a question, was it going to turn on or turn off? For days after installing the new fan, every time I'd go in the room, I'd flip the switch, it would turn on, and I would think, wow, this is great. It works the way it's supposed to. We lived in that house for years, fighting with that switch on the fan every time. And when we replaced it, we were so pleased that we didn't have a remote, but we had a switch that worked every time. Sometimes we as Christians aren't what we ought to be, and we don't work the way we should. And we need something to change us to help us work correctly. In John 15, verse number 2, the Bible says, every branch in me that beareth not fruit, he taketh away. And every branch that beareth fruit, he purgeth it, that it may bring forth more fruit. In John 15, he speaks about the husbandman. That is the individual who has the care of the vineyard. It's his job to nurture it and to trim it. He has a deep interest in the growth and welfare of it. He takes off what is dead and unfruitful, and he prunes fruitful parts so that they'll bear more fruit. This is what God does in our lives. He works in us to take away what's dead and unfruitful. He prunes what is fruitful so that it can bear more fruit. He works in us to make us what He can use. In James 1, the Bible says, knowing this, that the trying of your faith worketh patience, but let patience have her perfect work, that ye may be perfect and entire, wanting nothing. God allows things in our lives to help us mature into fruitful, reliable, and desirable individuals. The day I had to replace the fan, I didn't like the thought of replacing it. It was going to take time, it was going to cost money, but in the end, it was better and it was more enjoyable. No one enjoys going through hard times, but sometimes it's those difficult times that God uses to make us more desirable and more fruitful.